Article from Newsweek. Everything Rush Limbaugh has said about Kamala the Snitch Harriss. Conservative radio host frequently discussed Harris's one-time relationship with Willie Brown on his show. Limbaugh has repeatedly referenced a sexist slur against Senator Kamala Harris and discussed an article about how she blazingly slept her way into politics on his radio show. The right-wing host was talking about the recent firing of veteran NBA photographer Bill Baptist, who shared a meme on Facebook about the presumptive Democratic vice presidential nominee under Joe Magoo Biden. The image was a mock campaign slogan reading Joe and the Hoe. According to a transcript of the August 14th show, Limbaugh said he posted an image that read, quote, Joe and the Hoe, and quote, H-O-E. Now, do you think that's about Joe and the Hoe? Question mark. Quote, anyways, he's Baptist gone, quote, Joe and the Hoe, end quote, end double quote. Limbaugh has, never condemns the sexist language before immediately going on to discuss the article that appeared into the American Spectator called Why It Should Matter That Women, that Kamala Harris slept her way up to the top. All right. Well, let me be the dad here and explain to you exactly what's wrong with being a slut and a hoe. Okay. When you are a slut and a hoe, people use you as a cum dumpster. People have no respect for you. And that's because the other guys wanted to sleep with you and they couldn't. And you might be spreading diseases around, and you're making it so that it's our marriages aren't as good because you're just making sleeping around being like a normal thing. So in reality, this is the way the world works. You have impressions when you meet people. They make up their mind about you. And after they've made up their mind about you, their mind is probably going to be made up. At that point in time, if they think that you're a slut or a ratchet and that everybody's going to get a turn, they might not hire you for a job. They might not like choose to hang out with you. And this isn't actually discrimination based upon your sex. This is actually because you're a ratchet ass hoe and you've been acting like a slut. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with slut shaming. In fact, I think it's actually funny. Especially when they get really pissed off. Because the reality of the situation is, if it really actually isn't that big of a deal, then you should be big enough that it's just water off a duck's back, right? But there's a problem with this whole statement. It's not just water off a duck's back. It actually gets under your skin. You really don't like that. Who wants to be called a ratchet ass hoe cum dumpster? I mean, come on. Nobody wants that, right? So even though in a perfect world, everybody should just be nice to you, the fact is, if you have pictures of you jerking off 20 different dudes in a at the porn shop downtown doing glory holes and peekaboos, you're probably not going to get the job. You're probably not going to be allowed to work for your local schools. If you do work as a veterinarian, you could probably actually get away with that, actually. In fact, I'm pretty sure that everybody would think that that was totally hot. In fact, also, too, if you were a nurse, too, that would be totally awesome. But if you got, what's that one chick's name? Corey Chase, right? If you see Corey Chase walking into a school, what does that mean? If you see this woman walking into a school, what does that mean? That probably means she's going to do some stepmom porn there. She's not getting a job at the elementary school. I mean, I know this sounds completely obvious, right? But these women are absolutely going nuts on the incest porn. It's like a normal thing. It is an absolutely normal thing in the porn industry for people to do incest porn. And that's because they're creating a mob of cucks on the internet who are addicted to freaky, weird porn because they've seen so much porn that it is no longer the same. And so they need to have stepmom porn because now nobody else wants to have sex with them and nobody else wants to have sex with their mom. So then they just jerk off thinking about having sex with their mom. And they're getting paid. They're doing mommy daddy porn on the internet, dude. And then they're complaining that they can't get a job as a teacher in the elementary school. You're like, really? Really? I mean, for real. They just think that they can do anything that they want. Absolutely anything. And that there's zero repercussions for it, right? We live in a real world. I know that you want to do everything too. I personally endorse you to have freaky, weird group sex. In fact, if you know any people having freaky, weird group sex, you should comment on issue number 80 at realsimplenews.net/issue 80. So what? Okay, so back to this article. Is it okay that Kamala slept her way up to the top? So she's from California. Let's look up Kamala the Snitch Harriss on Wikipedia. All right. Kamala the Snitch Harriss. She's from Oakland. She was a lawyer. We want to know, would you tap that? Comment on realsimplenews.net/issue 80. Let's see. What does Maya Harris look like? There's Maya Harris. Question, would you tap that? Comment on realsimplenews.net/issue 80. Democrat, Oakland, California. She graduated from Howard University in the University of California, Hastings College of Law. Began her career at Alameda County District Attorney's Office for being recruited at San Francisco DA's office. Later, the City Attorney of San Francisco's office. In 2003, she was elected DA of San Francisco. She was elected Attorney General of California in 2010 and reelected in 2014. She defeated Loretta Sanchez in the 2016 Senate election to become the second African-American woman in the first South Asian American to serve in the United States Senate. As a senator, she supported healthcare reform, the descheduling of cannabis, passage for citizenship, a path to citizenship for undocumented immigrants, the DREAM Act, ban on assault weapons, and progressive tax reform. Okay. So, did she deserve to come up? All right. So, in the circle that she's in, the extremely corrupt California Democrats, she was saying she wants path citizenship So she wants to give all the illegal immigrants citizenship because she's in California and it's a sanctuary state. The DREAM Act, I support. I think that it's kind of common sense to attempt to recruit the best and the brightest from everywhere. So I'm going to say, as a Republican, I too also support the DREAM Act. Ban on assault weapons, definitely not. No, I want assault weapons to protect my castle. Progressive tax reform. So basically what she endorses is giving money to people to get them to vote for you. So question, did she deserve to come up in the hierarchy based upon her platform here? What are the redeeming qualities of Kamala the Snitch Harris as a vice president of the United States? What are her redeeming qualities over Mike Pence? What is it that makes Mike Pence a bad candidate for vice president? And then Mike Pence is a good candidate for president. Well, I definitely would think that because of what I've seen from Kamala the Snitch Harris, she was a prosecutor. So she is the kind of person that would snitch you out. She supports radical lefties, and radical lefties typically come up in their social hierarchy through some of the following ways: people liking their post, people buying their product, people watching their ads, and people voting for them. So I personally, in my experience, because I'm trying to bring us back to the point of the article. So what does this have to do with whether or not she's qualified to be the vice president? First off, if you're going to be the vice president, people have to respect you. So typically once somebody's slept with somebody, they don't really respect them as much afterwards. Like, if you are sleeping around in the office, you're probably going to be fired unless you're sleeping around with the boss. If you're sleeping around with the boss, then you're going to get promoted. Everybody's going to agree that person should not be promoted because they're sleeping with the boss, except for the sluts. I think that's kind of where it lies with this whole issue. I think in terms of whether or not she could garner respect from the vast majority of people, it depends. What are the legitimacies of these claims? How many corrupt California Democrats has she boned? We want to know the list. If you know any California Democrats or anyone else who Kamala Harris has had sex with, you should comment on realsimplenews.net/issue 80. It says, according to the transcripts of his August 14th show, Limbaugh said, quote, he posted an image that read Joe the Hoe, and oh wait, hold on, I read this. The article from conservative site discussed Harris's relationship from 3 decades ago with Willie Brown, a former Speaker of California Assembly and Mayor of San Francisco. During the segment, Limbaugh quotes part of the articles which state, in no secret but public knowledge, that Kamala Harris slept her way up into California political life by being a very public escort and mattress for California Democrat or a kingmaker Willie Brown. Okay, I definitely see why this is bad. So I live in Oregon. Oregon's a brainwashed leftist state. We're controlled by extremely corrupt Democrats who bow down to the will of the batshit crazy lunatic white feminists, like the old ones, the lunatic hippie chicks, like the ones who like say they're hippie, but they don't. Nothing about them is actually hippie, and they're white, and they flip out a lot. So they're like have some mental health issues, and then they go down to the city council, and then they rant about lunatic stuff. So these are the people that placate into those kinds of people. So in these circles of Democrats, what I have seen, because I have some friends who've been politicians in the state of Oregon, and from my experience with interactions and observations of Kitty Piercy, who is Eugene's former mayor, who is a white feminist, radicalized liberal, she only had that job because people thought that she was nice and hippie, and she did a horrible job as mayor of Eugene. And she would endorse very specific people. So she had this tremendous amount of pull with people because she had been mayor for so long. And the last time that I saw her was at a Democrat. My friend was running for Senate, and I went to go, he's a black Republican, and went to go show support for him. And I remember that she was there and that she was endorsing another candidate who was not there. Okay, and because this candidate was not there, she went and in proxy promoted for this politician who was not there. I never met this politician, but I remember that was just, it seemed to me like that was incredibly odd, because me personally, you would never ever catch me going out to a political event advocating for another politician. I just wouldn't have time. So you got to think, like, why does this person even have time? Like, she's got all this pull from the Democratic Party, and then I remember the person that she was with, there was another Democratic candidate who was, I think she was a shoo-in for the election. She had like blonde hair. She was probably 40, mid-40s or something. But I remember she had that big Democrat vibe of like, I'm going to give you all this money and vote for me. I just remember it just felt like there was a corrupt group of people with a bunch of money there, that they were only there because they had money. That's I think the fundamental problem with the Democrats is that they kind of exist because they have a currently existing infrastructure that they have to continue to create new things. They can't just like stop doing what they're doing or the money's going to dry up. So they have to, even if they don't have something good to go on, they have to go on something, anything. The Republicans are trying to conserve what we already have. So they don't really get shit flinged at them for this, because they're trying to preserve classical liberalism, freedom of speech, the Constitution. But the Democrats, it's like they're just trying to give you money to get you to vote for them. They're not going to actually do something that makes it so that you have more money in your pocket. In the end of the day, they just want to give you money to make them vote for you. I think that's the most slimy thing that they do as a whole. They just tell you whatever you want to hear to get you to like on the post, watch the ad, buy the product, and vote for them. And so whenever they start using sex to come up, they're like, vote for me because I've been sleeping with lots of people and they have my back. These other people that support them are in with the corrupt establishment, the groups of business people who are funding the Democratic Party that give all these donations to all these various people. And if they want you to succeed, they can give money to your campaign, and they can also give money to competing campaigns to suppress politicians that they don't like. This is the crony establishment. These are the people who are causing all of these problems, the ivory tower liberals. the ones that sit up top the ivory tower, telling you whatever you want to hear to get you to watch, like the post, watch the ad, buy the product, and vote for them. And they're making up just whatever because they're testing it on these focus groups. And then whatever the focus group said, they're like, yeah, I'll go with that. None of these things, none of these reasons have anything to do with this is a good idea and we're all going to be better off if we do this. All of these ideas are based on we hate this white people are bad. We have to take out the white males. The racist white males are preventing the immigrants from taking over the country. So we have to take them out. It's like all of this stuff is like, there's never anything here that's actually trying to help me out. This is the fundamental problem. I live in Oregon where there's 1.9% black people. Kamala The Snitch Harriss and Joe Magoo Biden, their plan is that they want to give out $15,000 loans to first-time minority home buyers. They want to give business loans to minorities, and they want to make the Federal Reserve talk about race. Of course, they have some other things, but these are this is actually part of the Magoo Snitch 2020 campaign propaganda platform. Is that they really are trying to make the Federal Reserve talk about race. And why? Because they pulled it in a focus group and people felt good about it. That's fundamentally why they do what they do, is because it makes people feel good. There's a problem with just feeling good. We live in a real world where not everything is perfect, where there's a whole bunch of people and it's insanely difficult to make anything work. That's the problem. You just do whatever you want to feel like doing, you're going to end up 500 pounds or dead from a heroin overdose. Because in the real world, if you just continue to do dopamine hit after dopamine hit after dopamine hit, you turn into a drug addict. But to the Democrats, it's just ding, 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 ding. Because it's just a focus group. All they're doing is just whatever makes people feel good, riding off the waves of whatever they're working on. Like, there's no real actual policies here. At least the Republicans, when they put money back in your pocket, it's because it was actually your money in the first place. They're going to allow you to keep your money. What are the Democrats going to do? They're going to take your money and give it to a minority to get the Latinos to vote for them. Right? They're going to take the money away from the men to give to the women so the women can work 50 hours a week and put off having a kid until their 30s and kill off their genetic line so that we're forced to replace the white people with Latinos. That's how fucked up Democrats are. They are so fucked up that they would flip a wig if they heard me say that. But I don't give a fuck what you gonna do. I'll be right back. I gotta get through these articles faster. I'd have to. I got the trying to start that real simple news with science thing.